Fishing in Wrath of the Lich King changes dramatically from the Burning Crusade and the fishing systems you're used to in Classic. There's additional dailies added in Dalaran, which we're going to talk about shortly. There's mounts that you can get from fishing. There's a new fishing tournament that's added, which gives a very, very unique reward that we'll definitely be looking at. No longer do you need to get books to train you up in fishing, you just do it all at the trainer. And to add even more convenience, you can fish anywhere. Where in TBC there's a certain level of fishing that will be required for a particular body of water, and then a maximum level of fishing you can have so you get a 100% chance to catch on every cast. That is now completely different. You can now fish anywhere regardless of skill. Every catch has the potential for fishing skill gains, but if you're fishing in a zone that's far too high for your level, the odds are the only thing you're going to catch is junk. But the good thing is you'll be able to vendor this junk and you will still get skills. So you can potentially go from one fishing to max fishing without ever leaving Dalaran. That may sound pretty boring, but at least you ain't got to run around anywhere. And what this also means is on your way up while you're leveling, if you're stood waiting for a boat, I don't know, waiting for a raid to start and you're quite close to somewhere where there's water, you can just get your fishing rod out and do some fishing to work on your fishing skill no matter where you are. But let's break all these changes down. Let's talk about how they're going to affect you, why you should be fishing, and reasons why not only can you get really cool items from fishing, but you can also make a lot of gold. I've really been looking forward to talking about fishing because I've done a few professions so far like engineering, inscription, enchanting, among others I believe. But I wanted to get fishing out of the way before I finish the rest of the main professions off, just because there is quite a lot to talk about actually, and there's quite a lot that you can get from fishing. So we'll start with like leveling up, how you level fishing up. We'll talk about some of the unique things that you can get along the way, why you need it at max level, because I truly believe everybody should have fishing on at least one character maxed in Wrath of the Lich King. And then just some cool things that you can get with it. Thank you to those guys down the bottom there that have joined the channel as a member. More at the end about how you can support the channel. So when it comes to actually leveling up fishing, you can go to any fishing trainer, using the one in Dalaran as an example. You can literally learn apprentice fishing. You can get the fishing daily straight away, even though they're going to be incredibly difficult to complete because you haven't got the fishing skill. But then you get yourself some baubles, get yourself a fishing pole, and that's it. You're ready to go. It really is that simple. You still have journeyman fishing, expert fishing, artisan fishing, master fishing, and grandmaster fishing, which you learn at the appropriate levels. You don't need books. The Nat Pagal quest line has now been removed. So if you want to do that, it will reward you with this fishing pole instead. But it's no longer actually required to progress your fishing any further. And at this point, once you equip your fishing pole, put your shiny bauble on, you are quite literally ready to stand and start leveling fishing. As you'll see here, we're fishing straight in Dalaran. We're only catching trash. At the first cast, we got fishing skill. So it doesn't matter where you are, but you're not going to catch what you actually want to catch, as in what the body of water can actually drop fish-wise until you're within the appropriate fishing skill. Now, we might as well at least mention this particular little body of water that we're fishing in here, because you're like, whoa, I wonder what that is. So this is the Dalaran Fountain, and there's actually coins inside this. All right, you can't see them, you need to fish them up. But you need to get all of the bronze coins, or the copper coins, all of the silver coins, and all of the gold coins. So these are actually for an achievement, and they'll reward you with a titanium seal of Dalaran. This is used for nothing other than gambling. Quite honestly, it's useless, but you're going to want to get all your achievements, so this is how you do it. So you could do your last 50 points, 60 points, whatever, just stood at Dalaran Fountain working on these particular achievements. But there's lots of achievements that you could be working on the way up, such as Northrend Angler, where you basically catch one of each fish. Same with Outland Angler. There's lots of rare fish that you need to get for achievements. So you can work on these achievements at the same time as leveling your skill. So it does actually make it a little bit more entertaining anyway. But this is the one that people will really be interested in. So turtles all the way down. Fish up a sea turtle mount from any fishing pool in Northrend. So this is what it looks like. Really cool mount. Doesn't move particularly quick. It's cool in the water though. But ultimately, you're probably going to want to get it. This is completely random out of any pool in Northrend. And if you do all of the achievements, then you can get Accomplished Angler, which gives you the title Salty. So if your character happened to be called Balls, this title would probably be pretty cool. Now, to be able to get the ability Find Fish, you do still need to get the Weather Beaten Journal, which can be found in junk containers. And it's got the highest chance of dropping from a Curious Crate, and these can be found from fishing in schools and pools throughout Outland, or any wreckage pools, which you can get around Stranglethorn Vale. There's loads of places where you can get these, even Zangarmarsh, around the steam pumps. But ultimately, you're going to want Find Fish, because when you're actually level 80, you're going to be looking for certain fish. And those certain fish are probably glacial salmon, muscleback sculpin, and nettlefish, because what these make is the fish feast. Everybody's going to want to be bringing fish feast to raids. Well, not everyone, but you're always going to have those few people that bring loads and loads of fish feast to keep everyone fed. Now, this does require cooking to even be able to place down in a raid, and it also requires you to do cooking dailies to actually be able to get it. But if you haven't bothered with cooking, you haven't bothered with the dailies, the least you can do is farm some of the fish, so the glacial salmon, muscleback sculpin, and nettlefish, to give to your maxed cooks, that can bring Fish Feast to the raid. There's a few pets that you can get as well, such as Strand Crawler, Giant Sewer Rat, obviously Mr. Pinch is still in from TBC, as well as Toothy, Muck Breath, Snarly from the TBC dailies from the Bag of Fishing Treasures. They're nothing new, but as you know, without fishing, there is certain pets that you're just not going to be able to obtain. There's also lots of good recipes just for personal food buffs, which if you're fishing a lot, you'll be able to make yourself, such as Snapper Extreme, which bone scale snappers, you get lots of. These are basically what you would consider junk fish, but they can be turned into hit rating food, which can be quite nice. You can make Firecracker Salmon, which is 46 spell power. There's Haste Food, which is Imperial Manta Ray. Moonglow Cuttlefish you can turn into spirit food. Poached Northern Sculpin is 80 attack power and 40 stamina. You can imagine there's basically a food for every single stat. But when you actually look at these, the best spell power food is 46. The best attack power food is 80, and the most stamina you get from any of these foods is 40. The Fish Feast gives you all of these effects all at once. So in a raid, it is Fish Feast that you're going to want. There's also a reputation which you could say is quite closely tied to fishing, because at Exalted, you can get the Mastercraft Kalawak Fishing Pole, which is the best fishing pole in the game. It increases your fishing skill by 30, and it allows underwater breathing, which is huge. But you do need 300 fishing to be able to use it, and you need to get yourself to Exalted with them. To get Exalted with them, there's plenty of quests that you can do. So there's quests in Borean Tundra, there's quests in Howling Ford, and there's quests in Dragonblight. Once you've done all these, there's then 3 possible daily quests for the Kalawak, 1 in Borean Tundra, 1 in Howling Ford, and 1 in Dragonblight. Each of them gives you 500 reputation with a Kalawak and some gold. Just from doing these dailies, from Friendly to Exalted, you would expect it to take just under a month, assuming you're doing them every single day. But the dailies are very quick, very easy, and absolutely worth doing. I'm sure by now you're familiar with a Strangleform fishing extravaganza, where you compete and you can get the Arcanite fishing pole or the hook of the Master Angler, for example. But there's now a new one, which is the Kalawak Fishing Derby. So every Saturday between 2 and 3 server time, the Kalawak Fishing Derby takes place. There'll be an additional NPC called Elder Clearwater, who appears by the fountain in Dalaran about an hour before the event starts. So when it starts, you're at a race to bring him a black tip shark. These can only be caught out of any pool in Northrend that drops pygmy sucker fish. But if you're the first player to turn it in, you can either get a very nice pair of fishing boots, which have got an on-use to teleport you to Booty Bay. But the main thing that everybody's really going to want is the Dread Pirate Ring, which is an heirloom ring that you can send to alts when you're leveling for an additional 5% XP bonus, as well as some critical strike and some hit rating. If you're not first but you still catch a shark, there are consolation prizes in the form of Bag of Fishing Treasures, but let's be honest, all you're really after is the ring. Now, I also mentioned about making a lot of gold. Now, alchemists need Pygmy Oil, which Pygmy Oil comes from pygmy suckerfish, which you find in most fishing schools across Northrend. The reason they need these, and the reason everybody on the server that intends on doing any raiding whatsoever needs these, is because they go in potions of speed. They also go in potions of wild magic, as well as a few other things, but really potions of speed and wild magic are the 2 main recipes that require pygmy suckerfish being turned into Pygmy Oil, and the vast majority of people that are raiding or pushing passes or anything like that will be using 2 potions of speed on every single boss. If you saw this really cool fishing rod on the thumbnail and was like, oh my god, where am I going to get that from? I hate to disappoint you, but it was actually introduced into the game files during 3.1 when the fishing mechanics was changed. So rumour has it was actually implemented for GMs to be able to test various different areas fishing without having to worry about having a fishing skill. And I would say that's about it. That's fishing in a nutshell. It's a very valuable profession to have maxed. It's really good fun to try and get that ring. As I say, it's worth having it just to try and get the heirloom ring, because it is something valuable. You know, it is something that's going to help level in alts quicker, and it's pretty OP as well. You know, it's a really good ring to actually be able to use on all of your alts when you're leveling. And then as well as the food, fish feasts, you know, getting achievements. You know, if you're going to be an achievement hunter, you're going to have max fishing. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Roll the outro. There's lots of ways you can support the channel to keep me here putting out World of Warcraft content and covering all future MMOs. Consider joining the channel as a member. You get access to emotes. Everyone will know you're a member when you comment on future videos, because you get a nice icon next to your name. And you get access to members-only videos, which I'll be putting a lot of on the channel throughout the year. Additionally, there's a Patreon link in the description as well. Thank you for watching all the way to the end, and I'll see you on the next one.